Homeland Security, and now will make a presentation on their recent study. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, today. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bill Bryan, and I lead the Science and Technology Directorate at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Over the last several months, we've intensified the department's R&D efforts to identify and deliver information that informs our response to COVID-19. S&T is working to identify, develop, deploy the tools and information to support our response to this crisis. As part of our efforts, we're leveraging the unique capabilities of S&T's National to study the biology biocontainment laboratory located in Frederick, Maryland. It was established in the early 2000s in response to the Amerithrax attacks, and where we study, characterize, analyze, and develop countermeasures for biological threats to the homeland. We work closely with the CDC, FDA, HHS, and also our Department of Defense. I shared the emerging results of our work that we're doing now with the Coronavirus Task Force. And today, I would like to share certain trends that we believe are important. If I may have the first slide, please. And while that's coming up, our most striking observation to date is the powerful effect that solar light appears to have on killing the virus, both surfaces and in the air. We've seen a similar effect with both temperature and humidity as well, where increasing the temperature and humidity, or both, is generally less favorable to the virus. So let me illustrate with this first slide. If you look to the right, you'll see that term half-life with a bunch of time stamps on there. First, let me tell you what a half-life is. We don't measure the virus as far as how long will it live on the surface. We have to measure the decay of the virus in terms of its half-life, because we don't know certain elements. We don't know how much a person expectorates when he spits, right? When he sneezes, whatever the case may be. We don't know how much a virus is in there. So that has a bearing on how long the virus is going to be alive and active. So we measure it in half-life, because half-life doesn't change. So if you look at an 18-hour half-life, what you're basically saying is that every 18 hours, the life of the virus is cut in half. So if you start with 1,000 particles of the virus, in 18 hours you're down to 500, in 18 hours after that you're down to 250, and so on and so forth. That's important as I explain the rest of the chart. If you look at the first three lines, when you see the word surface, we're talking about non-porous surfaces, door handles, stainless steel. And if you look at as the temperature increases and as the humidity increases with no sun involved, you can see how drastically the half-life goes down on that virus. So the virus is dying at a much more rapid pace just from exposure to higher temperatures and just from exposure to humidity. If you look at the fourth line, you inject the sunlight into that, you inject UV rays into that. The same effects on line 2 at 70 to 75 degrees with 80% humidity.
Chart, please.
On the surface.
Easy in Massachusetts, despite all the measures we're taking.
Discussing this with the president prior to coming out, he wanted me to convey it to you on how we do this. I believe we're the only lab in the country that has this capability. But if you can imagine a Home Depot bucket, a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket, we're able to take a particle, and this was developed and designed by our folks at the NBAC. We're able to take a particle of the virus and suspend it in the air inside of this drum and hit it with various temperatures, various humidity levels, multiple different kinds of environmental conditions to include sunlight. And we're able to measure the decay of that virus while it's suspended in the air. This is how we do our aerosol testing. We work with Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, and we actually developed a larger drum to do actually more testing. That's 4 times the size of that. So this is the capability that we bring to this effort. So in summary, within the conditions we've tested to date, the virus in droplets of saliva survives best in indoors and dry conditions. The virus does not survive as well in droplets of saliva, and that's important because a lot of testing being done is not necessarily being done, number 1, with the COVID-19 virus, and number 2, in saliva or respiratory fluids. And thirdly, the virus dies the quickest in the presence of direct sunlight under these conditions. And when you look at that chart, look at the aerosol as you breathe it. You put it in a room, 70 to 75 degrees, 20% humidity, low humidity. The half-life is about an hour. But you get outside and it cuts down to a minute and a half. Very significant difference when it gets hit with UV rays.
Huge and true.
Mr. President, while there are many unknown links in the COVID-19 transmission chain, we believe these trends can support practical decision-making to lower the risks associated with the virus. If I could have my next slide, and while that comes up, you'll see a number of some practical applications. For example, increasing the temperature and humidity of potentially contaminated indoor spaces appears to reduce the stability of the virus. And extra care may be warranted for dry environments that do not have exposure to solar light. We're also testing disinfectants, readily available. We've tested bleach, we've tested isopropyl alcohol on the virus, specifically in saliva or in respiratory fluids. And I can tell you that bleach will kill the virus in 5 minutes. Isopropyl alcohol will kill the virus in 30 seconds, and that's with no manipulation, no rubbing, just spraying it on and leaving it go. You rub it and it goes away even faster. We're also looking at other disinfectants, specifically looking at the COVID-19 virus in saliva. This is not the end of our work as we continue to characterize this virus and integrate our findings into practical applications to mitigate exposure and
Trump, of course, loves to act as
Thank you very much.
Brian? Mr. Brian?
So I ask Bill a question that probably some of you are thinking of if you're totally into that world, which I find to be very interesting.
Yeah.
So supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way.
tanning bed.
And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute, and injection inside or almost a cleaning, because you see it gets on the lungs and it doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see, but the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful. Steve, please.
The country will be in a better place by early summer. Does that mean you're going to need to extend the social distancing guidelines until then?
Well, we may go beyond that. We're going to have to see where it is, and I think people are going to know. You're going to know. I'm going to know. I think people are going to know just out of common sense. At some point, we won't have to do that, but until we feel it's safe, we're going to be extending.
You have 23 cases where new cases, 23 states where new cases are on decline. What does that mean about when the country can be safely reopened to a more normal point?
Yeah, but it means we're going to watch those cases very carefully. I think we've all gotten very good at it. We've gotten good at tracing. We see where the cases are, where they're going, and we're going to be watching it, and it's called containment. At a certain point, we're going to be able to contain. And, when you see this, a lot of people have been talking about summer. Maybe this is one of the reasons. I once mentioned that maybe it does go away with heat and light, and people didn't like that statement.
Yesterday that you're going to look into Senator McConnell's suggestion for allowing states to declare bankruptcy versus the aid.
Yeah, we'll look into it, and I happen to look. I'd like to know something that's of more interest to me.
Can I ask Mr. Brian a question?
Yes, sure.
You started your presentation, you described this as an emerging result. Does this mean your study is conclusive? Is there more work to do?
We're continuing that. For example, on the aerosol side, you notice the figures were 20% humidity. We're looking at higher humidity levels. We would expect that we even have a greater impact on the virus. We're looking at other types of disinfectants. And so as a scientific community, we're continuing to study the virus to understand its characteristics.
Mr. Brian, can you explain why, like New Orleans, for example?
Let me explain with many links. What we've done through our study is we've identified some of the weak links in that chain that the transmission of the virus depends upon. We identified that heat and humidity is a weakness in that chain. We've identified that sunlight, solar light, UV rays is a weakness in that chain. That doesn't take away the other activities, the guidance from the White House, the guidance from the CDC and others on the actions and steps that people need to take to protect themselves. This is just another tool in our tool belt, right? Another weapon in the fight that we can add to it. And in the summer, we know that summer-like conditions are going to create an environment where the transmission can be decreased, and that's an opportunity for us to get ahead.
But the president mentioned the idea of cleaner bleach and isopropyl alcohol. There's no scenario that can be injected into the person, is there?
I'm here to talk about the findings that we had in the study.
Through injection, we're talking about almost a complete sterilization of an area. Maybe it works, maybe it works.
So how do you...
Are we simplifying too much by saying that it'd be better with the warmer weather and the sun coming out more and more, that people would be outside than staying inside their homes, confined to the four walls of their house?
It would be irresponsible for us to say that we feel that the summer is just going to totally kill the virus and that if it's a free-for-all and that people ignore those guides. That is not the case. We have an opportunity, though, to get ahead with what we know now and factor that into the decision makings for what opens and what doesn't.
Right. But it is saying on surfaces, the heat, the hot summer, and whatever other conditions, humidity and lack of humidity, that would have an impact. So that on surfaces where it can be picked up on somebody's hands, right? And they haven't touched their face and all of that.
If it's exposed to the sun, it'll...
No, but if they're outside, right, and their hands are exposed to the sun, will that kill it as though it were on a piece of metal or something else?
I don't want to say it will at the same rate because it's a non-porous surface, but what we do know
Skin is very different.
that we looked at the worst case scenario and the virus lives longer on non-porous surfaces. So porous surfaces, it doesn't live quite as long. So in theory, what you said is correct.
This is a semi-non-porous, right? Yes, right?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan, just do this, Ryan.
Wait.
Mr. Ryan, how should governors who are opening their states working on that incorporate the findings of this study into those guidelines?
I would leave that up to the governors. This is a decision. This factors into their decision process. As I mentioned, with knowing this knowledge, having this knowledge, as we continue to study and further know what the virus does and how it reacts, it could impact the way a governor will look at what he opens in a state, how he opens it, in what environments these things are open.
Obviously, at the moment, the advice is stay at home. By the summer, could we be flipping that and saying you'd be much better off being outside with UV rays, all the humidity that Washington brings in August?
I would not go contrary to the guidance that have been issued right now. I think, though, to tell you that if I'm having an event with my family, I'm doing it in the driveway or in the backyard, not inside the house with my children.
I'm thinking about moving outside to the rose garden. No, it's a very interesting question, actually. Okay. Please.
How much more research, how much more time would it take to have conclusive results that could be used here to study for emerging?
February is when we started testing, and it is a science-based approach. Science is a process, and the doctor can attest to that. It doesn't necessarily line up with goals and targets and other things. It is what it is. But we are now starting to get results, and we're every week or 2 weeks we're starting to find out something new and something different. And in talking to the task force and the vice president, he's already asked us to come to him every time we come up with some new discoveries that we could share to the public.
Bill? Yeah, sir, have you compared notes with your counterparts in other foreign governments or in private industry who might have been studying the same thing, and do their findings show the same result that you found here?
We do have a very good partnership with a lot of our allies. We work closely with them on this particular topic. We actually authored a document called the Master Questions List. If you go to DHS-S&T's website, we've already had about 17,000 hits on this document. It actually outlines what all the countries in the world are doing to fill the certain gaps of knowledge that don't exist within the virus. And what we do know, and that is really what targets and drives the science community to say, oh, what don't we know now, so we don't duplicate what other people have done. So we've championed that document. It's well referenced, and I would encourage you to look at that.
And we are working with other countries on vaccines, as you know. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, if there is a summer ebb with this virus, what would the federal government need to do to take advantage of that time?
Say it at the beginning, right?
Oh, so if there is a summer sort of ebb with this virus, what would the federal government need to do to take advantage of that time to be better prepared for a possible resurgence in the fall than we were the first time
Well, I'll tell you
around?
one thing. I think a lot of people are going to go outside all of a sudden. People that didn't want to go outside, they'll be going. To me, this was really a very interesting meeting. We covered in great detail, and these are incredible people. That we could call it a laboratory.
What other areas the government need to do on testing, for example, or other things like that to be prepared if it came back in the fall? How would you take advantage of the summer?
It's actually a very good question. It's something the task force already is.
They had to bring in pens,
discussing that we are, if a combination of factors, let me say again, as states put into practice the guidelines to open up America again, implement a safe and responsible plan to open up their economies, along the lines that the President unveiled a week ago today. People continue to properly exercise social distancing as is recommended in each phase. That, in combination with some of these findings, could well give us a summer respite from the coronavirus. And our team is already speaking about working on a continuous basis through this summer. Every single day we're increasing testing. Every single day air bridge flights are coming into the country. I can promise you, with the President letting up on the development of therapeutics by our great pharmaceutical companies, are driving toward a vaccine as soon as it is possible to make available to the public. And there'll be no letting up on continuing to scale testing, already more than anyone in the world, but a broad range of testing and a variety of different means. And that's why we say, should the coronavirus reemerge at any point next fall or next winter, we will be prepared to deal with it, identify it, do the contact tracing and isolation to ensure that we deal with infectious diseases.
कैसा लग रहा है वाशी? पानी के बिना जिंदगी बहुत अधूरी है मेरे दोस्त। कैसा है मूसा? तू जिंदा है? मैं खुश हूँ। प्यासा है? यहाँ से 4 मील की दूरी पर एक नदी है, चलें?
वहाँ अब कोई नदी नहीं है मूसा, वो हमारे पूर्वजों का फैलाया हुआ कचरा है बस। जो लोग वहां रहते थे वो गांव छोड़कर चले गए, और जो लोग बचे वो कोरोना की चपेट में आ गए।
हाँ, तूने बताया तो था। तो फिर अब क्या? हार मान जाएगा वाशी? पर तू तो कभी हार मानता ही नहीं। लोग इसे प्यार की निशानी बोलते थे, वो प्यार जो तू इस दुनिया से करता है, वो प्यार जो मैं इस दुनिया से करता था। पर देखना, लोगों ने इस प्यार की निशानी का क्या किया। देखना, लोगों ने इस धरती का क्या किया।
मेरे दादा मेरी दादी के साथ 2 बार यहाँ पे आए थे। उन्हें ये जगह बिल्कुल भी पसंद नहीं थी। वो हमेशा कहते थे कि ऐसी निशानियां हमेशा जिंदा नहीं रहती। बस हम पे राज करने वाली ताकतें निशानियों से पैसे कमाती और उस पैसे का इस्तेमाल अपने स्वार्थ के लिए करती।
तू जानता है वाशी, लोग इसी पैसे से पहले बीमारियां बनाते थे और फिर उसी बीमारी की दवा बनाकर और पैसे कमाते थे। पैसे का लालच इस दुनिया को खत्म कर देगा यह हम नहीं जानते थे, पर वो तैयार थे। इसलिए उन लोगों ने स्पेस प्रोग्राम में साइन किया और मार्स पर चले गए। और हमें यहाँ मरने के लिए छोड़ गए। थोड़े बहुत प्रिकॉशंस से हमारे पूर्वज शायद इसे रोक सकते थे, पर साला किसको फर्क पड़ता है। तू तो ध्यान देगा ना वाशी?
इस धरती का रंग आज लाल है, इसलिए नहीं कि आज अरबों लोगों का खून इस धरती पर फैला हुआ है, बल्कि इसलिए कि इस धरती ने उन जख्मों को कुरेद कुरेद कर अपना खून बहाया है, जो जख्म हम इंसानों ने इसे दिए हैं। जब से इंसान धरती पर आया तब से इस धरती को उसने वो हर जख्म दिया जिससे आज इस धरती का गुस्सा लावा की तरह फूट रहा है। पानी खत्म होना, ग्लेशियर पिघलना, गंदगी, बीमारियां, जानवरों के साथ ऐसा बर्ताव। हम भूल गए कि जब धरती को दर्द होता है तो वो हमें कैसा दर्द देती है। ये तबाही एक तोहफा है जो हमें हमारी हैवानियत के बदले मिला है। ये कायनात खुद की कीमत वसूलना जानती है और ये कीमत हमें अपनी जान देकर चुकानी होगी। मेरा नाम वाशी है और मैं एक इंसान हूँ, और आज शायद इतने इंसान नहीं बचे जिनसे मैं ये मांग सकूं कि अब जितना बचा है उसे वो उसी तरह दोबारा सजा सके जैसे धरती हमारी जिंदगी संवारती है। मगर फिर भी आज इस खाली और वीरान दुनिया में मैं आवाज उठाकर आने वाली नस्लों से ये मांगता हूँ कि कभी भी इस धरती को ऐसा घाव न दे कि ये धरती दर्द से इतना चीख दे कि दोबारा ये किसी को दर्द पहुंचाने का मौका ही न दे।